vacation, travel, and afford all that. So how is your company making all of that happen for something like us, translators?
Okay. Our company prefers in-house staff. In-house means not at home, because we also use very specific systems that cannot be easily outsourced. And so this is our mission. With time, we plan to hire in-house as many translators as possible for the major language pairs. This comes with time, and this is our recipe against the problem of, against the social, the economic and social problem of the translation industry. The translation industry has a social economic problem. It is the fact that freelancing is not, to our eyes, socially sustainable and economically sustainable. Okay, the person can do it, but it is very hard, and only the toughest can make it. Only the tough guys and girls can interact with the client, who can spend hours and hours investigating and gaining experience. Only the toughest will make it, the most competent will make it. If you have a superior competence, but believe me, when I say superior, I mean something really extraordinary. When you are extraordinary, you can rule the market, and you can impose tariffs that are not in line with that of the market. But you really have to be outstanding, because the market tariffs now are, well, they are not so low, I tell you, they are not so low. They call for a very hard work. I mean, the expected income for a translator is not as high as that of a notary or as a judge, of course, and this is a pity. But it can be adequate if the translator, please remember it, if a translator can work fast. If you can produce enough worth, you can come up with an adequate amount of money. If you freelance, with an adequate amount of money that will be used partly as a reserve when you are sick, when you go on vacation, because you cannot be paid when you are freelance, if you're sick and when you go on vacation. So you have to consider that you have to put aside a reserve for that period. You have to go to work very fast in order to produce worth. But I tell you, working fast is not insanity. For instance, I establish business. My work is establishing businesses. Okay, I know a lot about contracts. If I happen to translate, if I would happen to translate a contract, I would be capable of translating like 30 or 40 pages every day, because I perfectly know the subject matter. I just write, and it comes out. I wouldn't say perfect because I'm not Superman, and we destroyed Superman before, bad guy. But it comes out accurately. So a high level of production does not mean poor quality. It calls for experience. So if you are experienced, you can be highly productive. If you are not experienced, you cannot produce enough. And to me, this is the problem that the young translator face. They have not the capacity, because they lack experience, they don't have the capacity to produce enough worth and come up to an adequate salary. Remuneration. They not pay the salary if they freelance. They are not nominas. Vale. Have I answered your question?
Yeah. And also, I would love to know about your, or maybe both us want to know about what your company does. So
Io credo che chiede che anche voi titolati come potremmo, che cosa possiamo offrire loro.
Yes. We are here. Okay, we as a company, we are here now because we have opened up a small office in Medellin, and we are, of course, we're searching for translators here locally, and we mostly work into Spanish. Okay, so we will be more than happy to receive CVs these days and to make contacts. And we're here. So basically, you can, of course, you can take contact with Sergio, Giovanni, or Steffi, that are present here, and we will be more than happy to have candidacies and to see what comes next. Of course, we subject entry tests, as I said. We ask for a CV, like with a list of the references of the previous experiences, if you are freelance. And we are also open to have in-house contacts as in-house translators. That can be through the form of internship or apprenticeship or established contracts, nominas, in case the candidate has already gained a sound experience. He respondido a su pregunta. Perfecto.
Lo repito en español, por si acaso alguien tiene alguna duda. Todos los que puedan estar interesados en traducir, estamos dispuestos a que nos mandéis estos currículums. Os podéis poner en contacto con Sergio o Steffi, nos los mandáis, haremos una prueba de traducción y luego pues puede haber varias posibilidades. Ahí podemos ofrecer prácticas en nuestras oficinas en España, en Inglaterra, en Italia, en Perú, y entramos en contacto con vosotros para saber un poco más o menos cada uno lo que si quiere ser productor, si le interesa más el mundo del project management o lo que queráis.
Como hemos dicho, hablamos de carreras que son muy distintas. Productor o gestor de proyecto o comercial por el extranjero, para tomar contacto con el extranjero. Bueno, English. So because you are not supposed only to work as a translator, because if you feel like I want to be a translator, you can be a translator, but studying languages really opens up a very wide variety of perspectives. You can work also in the sales force, taking contacts with foreign clients. You can work as a project manager, so, and you will use foreign languages when talking with other translators, with clients. I mean, your career, your study here opens up a wide range of opportunities. Don't just focus on translating, because it is not the only perspective that you have. It is a very good perspective if you want to take that chance, but you have lots of others, okay?
Well, thank you, Luca, for your presentation. I have some questions here, basically related to the workflow in Spanish in your company. If you could give us like some figures about, or if you remember some figures about the workflow in Spanish, and how many translators do you have into Spanish at the time, and what are your expectations in Colombia regarding translation into Spanish, and I would say into Colombian Spanish, because you mentioned before, but English and Spanish, and I would say many languages, many big languages have these varieties, these different varieties, and in this case, I think our translators, our students and alumni, they are more prepared to translate into Colombian Spanish. So those would be like my questions. What is the workflow into Spanish in your company? What are how many translators into Spanish do you have at the time? And what are the expectations in Colombia?
Yes. At present, the in-house staff has, so las nóminas fijas, hablamos de 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 translators who work for Spanish ministries, so they are dedicated to clients. They are client dedicated, so every client has those translators. And because I tell you, we are in Italian Spanish company, because we have a strong position in Spain as well, and we work a lot with the major Spanish enterprises and institutions like Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Defense, the Institute of Statistics of Spain. So we have those major clients, and we do have dedicated translators, because when you have big clients with a very specific terminology, you are supposed to have a dedicated staff as well. And they work in the offices of the clients, really. And but the translation into Spanish is not our biggest language pair. Why? Because we are Latins, okay? We are it's the same, Italian, Spanish, and Latin America. We can say that we are a big family, and we work for clients in our region, okay? But the clients in our region, they are more inclined to translate into foreign languages. So for us, the biggest output is into English. For the translation into English, we have lots of resources, and we have, like, I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, I think, in house, and we have constantly like 7, 8, 10 freelancers. All of these coming up to like 15 people, more or less, are English native speakers who work every day fully for us. So we are talking about a big amount of work. Spanish comes third, because we have first English, then German, then French or Spanish. They are combined. But the output is on the increase, because of course we work a lot for ministries and for the institutions. The institutions are supposed to translate external material into the local language, that is Spanish. Of course, we are talking about a variant. At present, we do not have clients in Colombia, so we have no need for the Colombian variant. Okay, it may come up on an irregular basis, like one text every month, but it is not standard. Our present need is that of the Iberic Spanish. And what we do usually is to translate, and then with the revision process, you can fix the variant. So you can translate into Colombian Spanish and fix it for the Iberic market, or fix it for the Argentinian market, whatever. I mean, the good part of it, there is something interesting, is that is the use of time zones. For instance, when it's daytime here, it's night in Europe. When it's daytime in Europe, it's night here. So we have a constant production process enabling us to make the most of time zones. we work day and night. For instance, a text can be translated here in the daytime, and it goes down to Spain where it is revised. So that's a very interesting system. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. Personally, I have two questions. They are partially related. So the first one is, okay, you know, the market is unregulated, yeah? How could a company, that's to say a translation service company, help or contribute to the regulation of the market? That's to say the market regulation. That's the first question. The second one is, when assessing people trying to get a job position in your company, how significant is the translator, the person being a professional translator or not?
So the first, can you hear me? Can you hear me? No? Can. Oh, no. Okay. Now it's back. Okay. So the first question is, what contribution can a company give in order to regulate, to help regulating the market, right? And the second question is, what role plays the fact that the translator is professional or not when they are subjected to the entry test? As to the first question, it would be very appreciable if a company, if a translation company, of course, does their best to regulate the market. Of course, we have joined forces. We have joined forces with other agencies in the past in order to help out with the preparation of for instance, of the Code of Ethics. We were members of an association in Italy. Then, unfortunately, we discontinued our cooperation with that association because we didn't believe that the association was taking the right steps at that time. But still, there are several attempts in the market in order to try to regulate it. Our contribution now is merely that of sharing information, as we are doing now, sharing information at a very local level, like here, we did the same in Peru last week, sharing information with the operators of the market, with the translators, and with all the stakeholders of the market, so to raise the awareness, because I think we face a social and economic issue in this sector, as also in many other sectors. Just think of the agricultural sector, the same, the regulation. So our role is that of raising the awareness. We have a blog as well, and we try to make things clear to the client as well. And then to the second question, like of course, when a translator applies for the role in our staff, or when a translator applies as a freelancer, second option, of course, the fact that the translator is experienced, that is crucial. We are looking for experienced translators. They can work in-house. It is okay if you can just work freelance, even if we prepare the in-house mode. But of course, we are also keen in developing new talents. We have both options. We have a certain share of personnel that is usually one-third or half of the staff that has to be experienced, and then the rest is like a school. So we also welcome proficient young translators, if they are highly proficient and very much dedicated, very much ready to make the most. We usually welcome them as interns, so we have internship programs and also apprenticeship programs, but we keep that very differentiated. The senior translators are mostly destined and assigned to revision works, while the junior translators are in our organization, and it's only our organization. I don't want to say that this is the entire world. Junior translators are assigned to the translation step, or to the, how can I say, to the amelioration of the translation memories. So they take translation memories, they take the product of the automatic intelligence, and they try to fix it, okay? They work on that, they try to fix it, and then this packet goes to the senior translators, who can revise it if it's okay, or they redo it if quality is too poor. That's a very interesting passage, I think. So the use of of artificial intelligence and translation machines. Think that the European Union has been using these instruments in like for 20 years. And when you have lots of pages, because I tell you we have lots of pages, it's not possible for humans to cover our quantities, because we work for the major enterprises and for the major state aid agencies. So when you really have thousands of words to be completed in a matter of hours, you do have to use these systems, but humans have to be organized in such a way to contribute smoothly. Time frames are very strict, terminology has to be assessed, it's a very hectic work, and so you have new roles coming up. I told you, the youngsters, the junior translators can also have a role taking the artificial intelligence basic material, so the output artificial intelligence and CAT tools, making it intelligible, fixing sentences a little bit, checking for the general quality, and so they prepare a reference basis that is aidable by the seniors. Okay. That is aidable by the seniors. And if you put this in the organization of time zones, you can have, for instance, night time in Spain, for instance. It's a text into, let's say, into Spanish, okay? Let's put it so. Colombia may prepare the text in the Spanish night. When it's the morning in Spain, the senior translator receives the reference material, the pre-translated reference material, and it goes through it very quickly, because it is okay at a 60 to 70% level. So it just takes to give it a final touch, and here you are. And you can deliver like thousands of pages in a matter of days. We really work with a very high pace. This was a very interesting point. If you want me, I can tell you something about that perspective, because it's something really new, and it's something that is not shared, it's not told. I can give you secrets. No, really. But this is the reality of major agencies. It's the reality of big agencies, and it is absolutely weird.
said that freelancers normally they take a lot of like assignments and they don't really specialize in any field. So from your perspective, would you advise translators to specialize in a field?
Absolutely, especially because translators will turn more and more into editors and fine tuners, so they are expected to be highly specialized because the poor quality level is resolved by the machine and will be absolutely resolved by the machine in a matter of a couple of years. So please specialize, take a field of interest, a field you love. I love tourism, well, I specialize in it. And hope to the best that you have enough tasks in that field. Do advertising, advertise your profession. Take contact with as many agencies and clients as you can. Devote your entire life to investigation, to gaining experience, and to contacting clients and retaining the clients.
Okay, yes, here. I have a question. We have, here in the School of Languages in Antioquia, we have a translation agency. Have you thought about making alliances with this agency or local agencies here in Colombia? Or yeah, and the second question is, there are different changes in national policies related to translators, official translators. Are those national policies affecting your work as an international, multinational company?
Yes, we are more than happy to make alliances with in-house university agencies and see if we have a way to interact, being it, whatever, as taking those agencies as providers, as partners also for investigation activities, that would be very much interesting, or as clients in case they need language pairs that they may lack. So there are several opportunities, and we are very keen on establishing a sound relation with universities. Talking about yes, the new regulation, the new local regulations, we are very much familiar with this issue, as of course we are a multinational company, so we really have to face on a daily basis all the changes in regulation and differences in specific regulations. We of course have lots of legal advice on that. We have legal advice on a local level, and of course that is very difficult. It highly impacts our organization. Just think of the new regulation on the GDPR, the new regulation on secrecy and data handling in Europe, that it called like for 3 months work on our side just to understand how to fit this new regulation with our presence in other countries outside of Europe. So it is a massive impact in terms of data security and privacy and lots of things. Copyrights as well are a big issue. That's why we tend to establish companies locally and to hire in-house, because by doing so you avoid freelancing that has a dramatic impact in terms of data handling, security, and stuff like that.
I have 2 questions. First is, in Italy, who certifies the sworn translators? Is there a state entity or is it private university? universities or colleges or translators? That's my first question.
Yeah.
The second question is money. Let's talk about money. How do you pay your employees? Do you pay them on a fixed contract basis, or do you pay them on a production? If the second is a choice, let's say your company makes $30 for the translation of a page, legal translation page, a net gain of $30. How is the allocation? Is it, how much? $30 after paying taxes, all these side things. And how is the allocation? How much should you is allocated for the translator? How much for the reviewer, the revisor, and the project manager?
Yeah. Okay. First question. Italy is a chaos. In Italy, things are different, from region to region, from city to city. So we do have certified translators. They're usually certified by the tribunals, so they are court translators. It's a little different from here. A little bit different. We do have dedicated faculties in the universities specific for translation studies, and so you can receive degrees in translation, and a certain level of state certification occurs when you are like a court interpreter or a court translator. But some courts don't have it. So in our city, we don't have it. We have it in other cities. So it's pretty chaotic, I'd say. Then the second question was about, in-house translators are employed. So we're talking about employment. Employment is nominas. Está contratado con nóminas. That means that we comply with a local framework labor contracts. We apply the local contracts. Don't do anything different. So we're talking about fixed salaries with fixed regular contracts. Big multinational, we really stick to the rules. We don't do strange things. We're not a big multinational, so we don't. We really stick to the rules and try to keep things as transparent as possible, because we don't want to have headaches. And ¿cómo? Sí, también, of course, we have a target, a productivity target in-house to be fulfilled. It is a reasonable target. If the translator is experienced, the translator can comply with that target, with that amount of pages. It changes. The target is personalized according to the level of experience, to the salary level, of course. And about the allocation of costs in our organization is truly a big issue. It's not a simple issue, because this is not a small company. So you can say that so much is for translation, so much is for revision. We have lots of strange costs, overheads, that impound mostly on the final cost. I would say that in our organization, translation is not the highest cost share. The highest cost share for us, for instance, are premises, is the real estate. So the cost of the offices that are purchased. So that is the real big cost. Then information technology is also a major cost. Legal advice is also a major cost. Translation, well, couldn't give you a precise estimate, but may be, if you take the sales price, translation can be like 40%, 35–40%, more or less. Then revision can account for like another 10%, let's say. But I give you a very rough estimate, because every location, every office has their own budget. Yes, and the rest is overheads. So management, marketing, information technology, stuff like that. We pay when we outsource, when we use freelancers, we can pay by the word, we can pay by the page, by the line, doesn't matter. We have suppliers. We do like tenders, like we ask for quotes. We cross quality and the costs, and it's a free market, and the person with the best quality and cost ratio wins the bidding. So it really depends. It really depends also on the cost of living. I tell you, for instance, when we buy languages like the Swedish, Danish, also, where the cost of living is extremely high, their prices are very high. So it all depends.
Okay. Well, Mr. Moreto, thank you very much for your presentation again. And thank you for coming to the University of Antioquia, for being interested in sharing your experience and your view of the market. I think it's very enriching for the translation students and our alumni. And well, those who are interested are, as he says, you are free to get in touch with Sergio and Stephanie, who is also an alumni, and Joanny as well. Yeah, they will be, I think, happy to give you more information. Well, thank you very much, and good day.
Great.